Mahama na me minim no. Me enje mo wa se Mahama be pardon Agradaa.
So, it was a rumor when Agradaa was arrested that a lot of people were thinking, say, what is going to happen to Agradaa? Now, it has come to a major conclusion, say, like is a President John Mahama ever pardon. Yes, the reason Abusuya can win is Captain Smart of Unia FM, and I want you to show no. There's a witness on news or no edit to us, any news, and any what that, there's any news crash President John Mahama or no any no. And you most likely say Obeko Abako pardon Agradaa. TNU Captain Smart just will be a news or one of the top journalists for NBC no. I see any news. So Obeko pardon Agradaa and a lawyer for I don't watch you so news he bow mountain in someone also edible to be and said any news. If so be any say President John Mahama declaring agent, you most likely so also adding home case na we no just say Captain Smart also edible to that is a confirming if so be any say Captain Smart the only NBC for NIS about finding form or cabo oti omontema busia na any can see Captain Smart Nincheche muno di kan baye no na ye wi ayekotie lawyer for Adon Otri so say any news say President John Mahama pardon Agradaa so bia news obeye yenko die no so muchimu embra
e mate say gifty Empress gifty
yeah.
The lawyer so person file contempt against Agradaa. As for Bema there say ma cha 1 year or the
Supreme Court to have a cap of 15 judges. The video says that President Mahama said in the video that he was going to have 15 judges. He's being criticized today for having 20 judges when he said he was going to have 15 by adding 7 to 13. They thought that he should have added 2 to bring it to 15. Supporters of President Mahama say that, well, he said he's going to have 15 judges. Maybe he said by the end of his term. So some are going to retire and some are going to fix, and then by the end of his term, he will have 15 judges. We will look as part of this presentation on which Supreme Court judge is retiring when, so that we can get a sense of it. But first, let's see President Mahama.
And even the issue of capping the number of judges, the Constitutional Review Committee recommended that we cap Supreme Court judges at 15. And so the issue of capping the Supreme Court is not for the Chief Justice to say. We will resurrect the constitutional review process when I become president. And when we do that, we will put it to the Ghanaian people whether we should retain the 15, whether we should reduce it, or whether we should increase it. And even the issue of capping the number of judges, the Constitutional Review Committee recommended that we cap Supreme Court judges at 15. And so the issue of capping the Supreme Court is not for the Chief Justice to say. We will resurrect the constitutional review process when I become president. And when we do that, we will put it to the Ghanaian people whether we should retain the 15, whether we should reduce it, or whether we should increase it.
Okay, so perhaps President Mahama is saying that the Constitutional Review Committee, which is working with Professor Kwesi Prempeh, perhaps will give a recommendation. But now, though, let's look at the judges who made the list today. Professor Sir Justice Dennis Ejay made the list today to the Supreme Court. Mr. Justice Gabriel Subari made the Supreme Court today. You have Justice Akabuafo. Justice Akabuafo is very new at the Court of Appeal. He was appointed by Akufo-Addo to the Court of Appeal just about 2 years ago, and he's been very fortunate to get an elevation to the Supreme Court. Congratulations, my lord. And then you have Justice Senyo Jamefe, who has been at the Court of Appeal for quite long. Some lawyers were unhappy that Jamefe has been there. I have to say that lawyer Moses Fuamoni has always been calling me anytime there was a Supreme Court. Say, Paul, tell the old man, Justice Jamefe is still at the Court of Appeal. He's a great judge. Tell the old man. And I said, Moses, I will organize so that you go and tell him yourself. He said, send me Godfrey's number. Let me call him. Justice Jamefe should be on the Supreme Court. That's Moses Fuamoni and the conversations we used to have. We started having conversations again. Moses is a great brain. One of the finest brains that we have in Ghana is Moses Fuamoni. So congratulations, Justice Senyo Jamefe. And Justice Philip Bright Mensah is also just recently come into the court, and people have been giggling and whispering that Justice Bright Mensah is being rewarded for being one of the 2 judges who overturned the Atto-Forson submission of no case, etc., etc. I'm not sure it's because of that. I'm not sure. Judges do their work, and you can always make the linkages you want. But the power of the president to appoint judges is sacrosanct. It's in the Constitution. You can interpret it however you want. But Justice Bright Mensah is on the Supreme Court now. Congratulations, my lord. And then you have Justice Hafisa Amali Boba, who is also, it's always delightful to see women climb up, but Justice Hafisa has also been on the Court of Appeal for a very short time, and then now she's gone up to the Supreme Court by elevation. Congratulations, your lordship. And then you have Justice Janapari Battles Kojo, who is also now a member of the Supreme Court. Altogether right now, we have 20 Supreme Court justices. Oh, my pen is gone here. Okay, they'll fix it for me when you are not watching. Altogether, there are about 20 Supreme Court judges. Please, lawyer, come, get ready. Let's, in violation of President Mahama's ambition to have 15 judges, but he said it's the Constitutional Review Committee. So now let's talk about the sad case, Agradaa, as lawyer Preku joins me. Yes, thank you. So, what has happened?
So the Circuit Court 10, Her Honor Justice Evelyn Asamoah has handed down a judgment placing Agradaa in custody for 15 years with hard labor, or we say in hard labor. And so, yes, this is pursuant to the case we discussed about 3 years ago, where she was charged for 2 things: defrauding by false pretenses and charlatanic advertisement.
What did she actually do?
So the defrauding by false pretenses, she made a promise and she actually collected money from church members in an all-night service that she was going to multiply the money for them. And I remember we made the distinction between that and other pastors making calls for maybe seed, that in this instance the entity that prints money is the Bank of Ghana, and therefore if you promise to multiply money, you are putting yourself in place of Bank of Ghana, which is impossible. So you cannot multiply money. It is something you just cannot do. But you can pray for people to say that, okay, if I pray for you, or I give you this holy water, or I give you this anointing oil, and you smear on your face, the favor of God can come on you and you can get some money. It's fine. That is not really defrauding.
That's faith-based.
That's faith-based. But in this instance, you are making specific promises and you are hinging it on a specific result. And the specific result is that you are saying that once you give me 10 cedis, I am going to multiply the 10 cedis. I am going to give you 20 cedis. Who prints the extra 10 cedis? It's the Bank of Ghana. I mean, you cannot do it. It's essentially a Ponzi scheme you are running using the name of God. And consequently, that is why she's been convicted. For the 15 years, her lawyer made the case. So what we do in criminal law is that when the case is done, there's something called conviction. Conviction is that the court is telling you that you are either innocent, that you are guilty. So it's either you are convicted or you are acquitted. Conviction is that you are guilty. Acquitted is they say go home, you are free. Now, after the conviction, the court, because she's a woman of childbearing age, would order for an assessment as to whether or not she is pregnant at the time of the conviction.
Even if she's not married?
Oh, that has nothing to do with it.
So at what age will the court say that there's no need for a pregnancy test? 65?
Yeah, possibly. After 60, as you are out of childbearing age.
But miracles happen. Miracles happen.
So the miracle can happen in jail. But
assuming that the pregnancy test came positive, what would have happened?
Assuming it came positive, then there will be issues of sentencing. So the court would have to look at it. Doesn't mean you still go home or you still go scot-free, but there are other avenues that the court can actually use in making sure that you give birth out of jail before you come back for sentencing, and then you are sent to custody in Sawum. Normally you go to Ashford for a couple of days or weeks, and then you are processed to go to either the medium security prison at Sawum or maximum at Ankafor. But I don't think she would go to maximum. I'm most likely medium. It's not really. She's not.
Why is the sentence so long? Why 15 years?
Well, the case that was made by the prosecution in this instance was that she's already a first-time offender. In the sense
by doing
that,
what?
So there was a time she ran a TV station, media without license and without accreditation, and so for in that instance she had more or less committed a crime before, and she was quite troublesome in that regard. And it seems because after that, and after a pat on her hand, she had not repented, and she went ahead to commit this crime again. And so the court thought that, well, 15 years. Because if you look at section 132 of Act 29, it prescribes that for the offense known as defrauding by false pretenses, the punishment is 10 to 25 years. So the court can pick in between, despite the fact that generally second-degree felonies, the maximum is 10 years. But 132 says, notwithstanding 296 in Act 30, which prescribes the maximum to be 10 years, you can still give between 10 to 15, between 10 to 25. So the court in this instance gave her 15 years.
What are the remedies in the circumstance?
So right now, her remedy, the remedy of counsel is to apply go on appeal. In this instance, because it was a circuit court, she can appeal to the High Court. Now, when she appeals to the High Court, her lawyers can do what we call bail pending appeal. Now, for the bail pending appeal, the lawyers are supposed to demonstrate that, one, they are going on appeal, and on appeal there is a prospect of success.
Success means a not guilty or a reduction of
High Court,
or a reduction of the sentence.
So that's also a different form of appeal. So you may appeal the conviction, or you may appeal the sentence. You may appeal the convictions, that you are basically telling the High Court that my client is innocent. Now, you are appealing you may also appeal the sentence, in the sense that you are saying that even though my client is guilty, the 15 years is harsh, and therefore something must be done about it. You remember Robert Mensah, the footballer, who had gotten the opportunity to go abroad and play football for one of the...
I like the way you say it, and that's why I appreciate you, because when Robert Mensah died, I wasn't born, you were not born. And you're asking me if I remember Robert Mensah. He died in 1971. He played for Asante Kotoko.
Yes.
But you read about it.
Yes.
The guy who stabbed him to death in Tema. You know about it?
Yeah, so
he went very
Tema,
well.
I think, last time, he was in Ghana having fun with friends before he goes. Then two people were fighting, Melfa and one other person. So he comes in trying to settle the fight. And the one who Robert Mensah accidentally killed charged at him with a broken bottle. And so in an act of defending himself, he killed the person. The lower courts convicted him and said manslaughter. But upon appeal, even though the courts his lawyers did not challenge the conviction per se, they said that the judgment was harsh in the sense, or the sentence was harsh in the sense that he was the person who was coming in to stop the fight, and it was rather the deceased person who charged towards him. So even though, yes, everybody there saw that indeed he stabbed the dead person died,